I really feel like I have a word from the Lord to share with you right now. God is doing something amazing in his daughters. And it's time for you to recognize the purpose and the plan that he has created you for. And I was thinking about something recently, and the Lord just like a lightning bolt kind of give you this download. And I really wanted to share it with you really quickly, because I believe it will encourage your hearts and your souls. I believe it will encourage you as you're kind of just going through everyday life, trying to figure out, how to be healthy inside out. Like inside out health looks like inside health first, always. Like if you're not healthy inside, it's very difficult for the outside to be healthy. But when it comes to your purpose in life, we all have one. They're all different. God has created us like with some underlying main themes like that are the same for all of us, that we have a purpose to fulfill. And that is, to know Christ and to share the love of Christ with those around us, and to build, to bring the kingdom of heaven to earth. We're created to be the kingdom of heaven on earth. That's our main purpose. But we're given all these little specific purposes in life. And ladies, daughters, I just want you to realize you have one, first of all, beyond the big one. Like you have a specific one. God created you for a specific reason. He created you in this time. You live in this time versus 100 years ago or thousands of years ago, for a reason. He put you in the family that you were, born into for a reason, whether or not that was the greatest place to be or not, in your opinion. But at the same time, it's just like, I can see sometimes when I'm looking back and I'm asking the Lord to give me his eyes. And that's what I would recommend you do, is ask him to give you eyes to see, open the eyes of your understanding, because we don't understand why we're going through what we're going through, why we've been through what we've been through, why we were born now, why is our family who they are, why do we live in the vicinity where we live, why is our circumstances what they are, so and so, that we could keep going. But God will reveal those things to you, the things that need to be revealed to you, and the timing that they need to be revealed, because his time is not your time, right? His ways are not your ways. His thoughts are not your thoughts, but you can ask him for his thoughts to be your thoughts, and he can give you his thoughts. But his timing is never going to be our timing. So just be patient when you do this. Okay. When you ask him to reveal these things to you, but I would recommend you pray and to open the eyes of your understanding, that he would enlighten you to the plans and purpose that he's put you here for. I think that we can look at each other's lives and we can think, maybe like their purpose is better than my purpose, so my purpose must not be either valid, good enough, or not there at all. Or, we can just not know what our purpose is, feel like we have a purpose, but we're looking for others to validate our purpose. And so right here is where we're going, looking for others to validate our purpose. So I lived this way for a really long time. I was not sure what I was put here for, but I knew that I was put here for something. I knew that I had something inside me that just God put in there, but I didn't quite understand it. I didn't know why. There was an unease or an unsettledness in me, and I just couldn't figure out what the world I was here for. And finally, I won't get to the finally. I used to take, like this go around this circle, go around this mountain, where I would take, my opportunities to seek counsel or to hear from other women about what they thought of me. Well, what do you think of me? Like, what do you think my purpose might be? And then I would listen to their opinions, and then I would think, maybe that is my purpose. Maybe that is what I'm supposed to do. That kind of makes sense, and I might jump on board with that, or I might not. And a lot of times, for a long time, I jumped on board with anything anybody said, the very first thing they saw in me. And I'd be like, oh yeah, that must be it. And I've come to learn that that's just not the right way to do it. When you're looking for your purpose, God's design, his grand master plan for your life, asking other people to validate that in you is never going to land you in the place where God has you going. Never. You're going, because they don't know, they're not God. They do. Maybe God does place people in your life to see things. There's people, like I'm a seer. I can see things in other people too. And I can see, wow, God's really gifted them that area. And he does use, our gifting sometimes in the place of our purpose, for sure. But whatever the purpose is for our lives in whatever season we're in, because I believe that our purpose is fluid. Like we have purpose, like an underlying, like I said, when I started this, no matter what purpose. And then I believe we have a fluid purpose. Like this is our purpose in this season. And then God's moving us to do this in this season. And then there's always going to be like the threads in our tapestry of the purpose of our life that are going to weave everything together. That will be like the common thread for the purpose, so to speak. Okay. So looking at purpose in this different way, God has helped me to see that looking to others to validate your purpose isn't the way to go. Look to him, look to God to validate your purpose, because he will validate your purpose in a way that nobody else can, because he's the one that created you. He knew you, he formed you in your mother's womb, but he knew you even before he formed you in your mother's womb. He knew intimately, yada, the word knew there is yada. Yada means knew intimately. That means he really knew you. Like he knew you, he created you. He spent time thinking about what color your eyes would be, how your hair would be textured, what place you'd live in and what time, all the things. Like he didn't, it just isn't a happenstance that you're here. I don't want to cry because some of y'all think you're not here for a reason and you don't get it. But you are here for a reason. You're here for a reason right now, watching this video right now, so that you will feel a touch from heaven inside of you and you will see, I am here for a reason. Like right now, I'm here for a reason. And that God will reveal the very next thing to you. Okay. He's going to reveal that to you. But as long as you're feeling like you're in a room and nobody notices you or nobody's validating you, so you don't feel like you have purpose, or you have to wave your arms around and feel like you have to be the most glittery, shiny object in the room to get the attention. No, you don't. God is going to give you your platform, your stage, your presence, your wherever you're supposed to be, whether it's just in your home and in your community or greater than that. But it's all from him. And it all comes from him. And he has woven something into you, exactly into you, that only he knows, that only he will be able to reveal to you exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And for so long, I have fought the call and the plan and purpose that God has put in my life because of what other people think I should be doing, or other people haven't validated me. And so I've thought, if you would just see me, notice me, you would know that I have giftings and I could serve you in this area, or I could help you over here, or I could be, give me a voice and I'll share, like none of that. It's just all from this. It's like an orphan spirit. It all comes from this orphan spirit of not belonging. But you belong. You belong. You belong. You belong. We are a kingdom sisterhood. We are daughters of the Most High God. We are a community of his children. That makes us sisters, and that makes us together. That puts some commonality between us, no matter where you live, what your house looks like, how you dress, what size you are, what color you are. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much money you have or don't have. It doesn't matter where you came from and what you've been through. We are sisters. And that's what we're here for. We're here to support and encourage and uplift each other. And I'm just telling y'all right now, God has really been so precious in revealing some things, amazing things to me, but I had to unplug first off from the things that I was trying to plug into to be my source of power, to be my source of energy. And if you just picture that for just a moment, what it looks like to plug in an outlet, like you plug in your lamp. If you're going to plug in your lamp, you plug in your lamp to that source, that outlet, that power source, and your lamp comes on. And if you plug in your lamp to an apple, well, it's not going to come on. If you plug in your lamp to something it's not intended to be plugged into, it's not going to work. And so that's how we live our lives. It's how I've lived my life, plugged into the wrong source, trying so hard to get my power from all these other places. I was plugging my outlets, plugging my power cord into different outlets that were not God. And every time I've plugged into him, everything has worked. But anytime I've plugged into him and everything's working, and then I start to look to the left and to the right and all over the place, I unplug. I don't even realize I'm unplugging. Really, I'm unplugging and plugging into these different places where I think maybe this is where I'm supposed to be plugged in. Maybe it's over here. And I get it all wrong. And then I end up in a place I never intended to be, thinking thoughts I never meant to think, and being all confused and all, like, what am I supposed to be doing? Hold on. I don't even know who I am anymore. How did I get here? And it's the whole principle of steering where you stare. If you've ever driven a car, well, most of you have probably driven a car, but if you've ever been driving and you happen to like grab your phone, for instance, and maybe like you're driving, you look down at your phone for a second, and then you're looking to the right, and then suddenly you look up and your car's almost in the ditch to the right. Or if you just happen to be driving and there's a beautiful field on the left side, you look out your window and you're like, wow, that's really pretty. You look over back into the front, you maybe just glance, your car's going to start drifting to the left. And if you don't believe me, just try it, but pay attention that you're doing it so that you're not going to be in another lane and a car's coming right at you. But I've done it because I'm like, is this really work? It does. Our lives will go in the direction that we're focused in. Like if we're focused over here, our lives are going to go in that direction. If we're focused on lack, if we're focused on overwhelm, if we're focused on the news, if we're focused on what the world is saying, and we're plugged into the world, that's where our life is going to go. It's going to go in that direction. And if you're plugged into what God says, if you're plugged into his word, if you're plugged into time with him, if you're plugged into listening to Christian meditation, and I can't recommend highly enough the app called Abide. Abide is just Christian meditation. It's scripture. It costs $40 a year. It is the best $40 you will ever spend in your life. I mean, really, it's amazing. So it's totally helped transform my thoughts, which is because, I was focusing on different things that I shouldn't be focusing on. And to be honest, I wasn't even focusing. I was spending time like an ADD brain almost, where I was like, pew, 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 pew. There was no focus. It was all like explosions and chaos. And I couldn't figure out how to like pull everything that was exploding and put it into this flame. When I started focusing back in the direction of the Lord and spending the time in his presence that it required to hear from him and to like take all the things that I've been like distracted about to him, that he was able to take all of this mess that I felt like was going off in my brain. And I was trying to find people to tell me somebody here, woman there, tell me what I'm supposed to do with my life. He's like, here we go. And he's taking it all to put it in a flame. So it's not just this explosion of chaos and crazy anymore. He's showing me, and I'm so thankful. But I have felt like kind of a lunatic over the last, 15 years of my life or so. I'm like, I don't even know who I am, because prior to that 15 years, I didn't really care who I was. I just was trying to breathe and eat and sleep, and that's it. I didn't care about purpose. I didn't even know that there was such a thing. So, anyways, I share all that with you to encourage you and to give you permission to sit back in the presence of the Lord and say, forgive me for unplugging from you and plugging into something else that has not brought me the power, the source that I need, the energy that I need. Give me new energy. Give me your energy. And then just permission to sit with the Lord and say, okay, I've got it wrong. I've tried to do it every other person's way, every other thing's way, and it's not working. So how do you want me to do this, God? What do you want me to do? Who did you create me to be? Who do you want me to influence, touch, and love on, in this season of my life? And take it one day at a time, like permission to take it one day at a time, because the purposes and plans that God has for you are fluid also. So remember that there's going to be times when you're in a season and you're like, I know this is exactly what I'm supposed to do. And you may hear him say, okay, now turn right. And when you turn right, you're like, oh, I didn't know I was going over here. And you're like drifting, trying to turn right. But hey, and it's in the drift that people look at you like you're crazy. You're like, okay, why is she drifting so hard? I know I've been there. I've totally been there, ladies, where I'm like, well, I don't even know. I'm skirting across the road and trying to figure out how to get my car to turn to the right, because I heard him say turn right suddenly. It happens sometimes. And I'm so thankful for listening, at least to have the ears to hear him say to turn, and then to be obedient to do it, because it's not been easy. It's not been, especially when you're worried about other people and what they think of you, or what they think your purpose should be, or what they've told you. They were like, yeah, I totally see that in you. And yes, that could be a thing that they see in you. And yes, that could be a thing God is going to use in your life eventually, but it may not be the thing right now. Maybe the thing right now is the thing that you're running from the most. Maybe the thing right now that God has you doing is the thing that you despise. And you're like, if it couldn't be this isn't glamorous or good enough or what I feel it should be. Hey, if you're in a season of changing diapers and that's where God has you right now, where you're snuggling and singing You Are My Sunshine and Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, love it. Love that season. And y'all, the last thing I'm going to leave you with, I think I'm so inspired. God has just been really filling me, but I've been unplugging from everything and everyone in order to get filled, to hear from him, to know exactly where I'm going, because it's so important that you know exactly where you're going in order to get to touch the people, to get near the people that God has you to be near, to influence and to love on. And you're all, I can't even stand the term influencer as far as like an internet, like people online are like, oh, I'm an influencer. Actually, you all are influencers, whether or not you ever put your face behind a camera or not. You're all influencers, whether or not you ever pull this thing out and go live on Facebook or Instagram, whether or not you ever have a YouTube channel or a podcast. Just know that you're an influencer in your homes, to your husbands, if you have one, to your children, no matter how old or young, to your family, your siblings, your cousins, your extended family. You are an influencer. Everything you do, someone is watching you and they're learning either what not to do or what to do. And so that's kind of a heavy responsibility maybe at times, but know that you're vitally important to the kingdom. Vitally. Your role is no less important than mine. And I'm pretty sure I have a pretty big one, but your role is no less important. It's incredibly important. So ask God what the piece of the puzzle is that yours. What do you look like in the puzzle? What's your piece look like in the grand puzzle of this thing called life? And then remember that, you know, everything that you do here is going to eventually, we're going to be leaving. This is not our home. We're going to be leaving this place and going to be in our eternal home forever with the Lord. If you know Jesus Christ, and if you don't, please reach out to me because I want to talk to you about that. But you know, we're going to our eternal home, and everything that we do here or buy here or whatever we do, everything stays here, everything except for the influence and the character and the things that God's given us to do. Those things go with us when we go. Those are the things that go with us when we go, is how did we influence the world around us for the kingdom of heaven? That's storing up your treasures in heaven. You know, it's just, how did you treat others? You know, how did you show up? Basically, how did you show up? And you can't show up well for others if you don't feel like you have anything to give, if you don't feel valued, if you don't feel worth it. And you can't ever feel valued or worth it if you're seeking your value and you're seeking your worth, like you're somebody to tell you how much you're worth in others and what they say about you. You're never going to actually find your true worth and your value. So you can't truly show up for people the way that God has you to show up, because you're not going to be showing up the way that he says. You're going to be showing up the way that they say to show up. So there you go. And I'm showing up today, y'all, in my coffee and cardio shirt and my jogging, but you can't see it, but I'm just in my workout attire. It's pretty much how I live my day, like all the time, living in workout clothes. Sometimes I wear makeup and sometimes I don't, but most times I do. There's just days where I'm like, I don't have time for this. But, you know, just however you need to show up for yourself first, like ask God to fill you so that you can pour out into those around you, because you cannot pour from an empty cup, and you're not going to be filling your cup with things that are going to give other people life if you're filling your cup up with things that other people are just telling you. Like, if that makes sense, like if you have a cup and you're trying to pour things into that cup that aren't going to pour back out well, like that, it doesn't make sense. Like you're not putting liquid in the cup. Maybe you're putting like toy blocks in the cup, and maybe you're putting like glass pieces in the cup, or maybe you're putting all kinds of random weird things in there that you're going to try and pour out on somebody else, and it's going to hurt them when it hits their head or cut their arm or I know it's a little weird, but think about your life that way. You are the vessel that's being filled up. What are you filling yourself up with so that you can pour out into the people around you that God has for you to pour out into? So the whole point of this, and then I'm done, is just to remember to seek God's validation, seek his plan for your life, his purpose for your life. Take your focus off what you've been looking at and turn it to the things that he says that he has for you, and ask him for his revelations. And the verse that I'll leave you with is, those who delight themselves in the Lord, delight yourself in the Lord. Sorry, I'm trying to remember it. It's actually really one of my favorite ones, but delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. That's the verse that, oh, I just love it. Because if you delight yourself in the Lord and you're spending time in his presence, you're delighting in him, like, oh, Jesus, I just want to be with you right now. I just want to be with you. Suddenly the desires of your heart begin to shift. They begin to change. They begin to be something totally different than what you thought you actually desired. Your desires will start to align with his heart, with his desires, because you're delighting yourself in him. He will give you the desires of your heart, and your desires will suddenly, you'll find, will shift to be his desires, and they'll just be so fun and precious, and it'll be better than, I desire to have a yacht out in the south of France, or whatever you desired at one point in your life. When you start spending time with the Lord, he shifts your focus, he shifts your desires, and it is wonderful. It's wonderful. So I just wanted to encourage you today and encourage you to be healthy, spiritually healthy. Encourage you to be all that God's created you to be, and to really pursue what that is, what exactly the purpose for designing you was, because it wasn't by accident and it wasn't by happenstance. You are here for a reason. So anyways, I hope this was an encouragement to you today, and I look forward to chatting with you all later. Bye-bye.